I'm Lauren Bealore, Democracy Director for State Innovation Exchange, and I'm a Spartan.
Since graduating from MSU's James Madison College, Bealore has taken her passions for advocacy, civic engagement, and entrepreneurship and woven them into a diverse career.
Two self-created quotes have guided me throughout my life. First, we cannot break down the barriers in society without first breaking down the barriers within ourselves. Secondly, service is the rent we pay for our stay on earth. I have utilized these words when approaching my career in politics. I think it is critical to have a complete and accurate understanding of how our democracy works, and that begins with bridging the gaps in the fabric of our democracy, which requires doing the work that makes that democracy accessible to all people. I've held both appointed and elected office, which includes a role as a precinct delegate for the city of Southfield, as well as city commissioner for the city of Southfield, both in my home state of Michigan. In each role, I was the youngest to hold the position. I've also held additional appointments, most recently that being the Michigan Community Action Team of the Michigan Coronavirus Task Force on Racial Disparities, where I work to address the disproportionate impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on communities of color. I got my start in political finance and fundraising and have used all of my roles to educate voters and provide greater access to the ballot. I believe that part of that rent you pay for service is determining how the work you do builds true change agency and creates opportunities for those that come behind you.
Bealore's desire to help others succeed grew into Young, Ambitious, and Beautiful, a venture conglomerate that started in Detroit and expanded to other cities, including Chicago, Atlanta, and New York.
After I graduated from MSU, I added an addition to my career trajectory, which became aiding women of color in entrepreneurship. I witnessed so many women of color creating successful businesses without enough celebration of their accomplishments or resources to maximize their opportunities. I decided to co-found Y.A.B alongside two peers that were fellow alum of MSU to help grow the amplification of women of color in business development, personal development, mentorship, and engagement. We started partnering with co-working spaces across the Midwest to provide greater access to resources for women of color and use the money generated from events to fund a book scholarship for college women. Additionally, we created a partnership with Chicago Public Schools to expose youth ages 9 through 12 to the early stages of entrepreneurship, including business proposals and pitch competitions. Y.A.B's motto is lifting as we climb, and it's really rewarding to see the network of successful women of color grow through our partnerships.
Bealore has broken age, racial, and gender barriers in her work. She's been featured in more than 100 publications and recognized through many awards, including the Detroit Pistons Game Changer, Crain's 20 in their 20s, and Who's Who in Black Detroit.
I think you can brand your career in any way that you want. You don't need to be one-dimensional. My areas of interest and expertise came from multifaceted experiences, and they all complement one another. I wouldn't be where I am without all of my life's experiences, and I'm grateful that they moved the needle for showing a Black woman in a plethora of leadership roles. When I think back on my time at MSU, one of the most profound experiences I had was a study abroad trip to Merida, Mexico. I went with an array of students representing different races and ethnicities. That trip, coupled with the distinct culture in that city, helped me realize that people can relate to one another on a lot of different levels, and that they often face a lot of the same barriers. My work is aimed at removing those barriers to create as much success as possible. Spartans will be change agents.